What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today I wanted to showcase one of my favorite core breakers in the Open Great League, which is Guzzlord. Guzzlord is one of the most forgotten about Pokemon in my opinion. People don't team build around it, they don't expect to see it, but when they are weak to it, Guzzlord can pop off, and it's a very surprising pick for a lot of players, and having Sludge Bomb coverage gives it a lot of play into the fairy types you might not expect. If you want to see my battles live, I stream almost every single day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see live insights into my gameplay and see my teams early. I'd love to see you there. The link to that is going to be in the description, but without further ado, let's get into the battles and see what Guzzlord can do. Alright, game number one. What are we going to see in the lead? Guzzlord up against a Azumarill. Alright, that's not a great lead. A Fairy type against our Dark and Dragon type Pokemon. With that said, we do have Sludge Bomb coverage, and we have the ability to safe swap Shadow for Alligator. We also have a Poison type in the backline in case we can flip switch, so we have to keep that in mind just in case they play this out in a way where we can get some sort of advantage. Ice Beam bait from our opponent, Savage bait by them. I shielded up because Shadow Gator is very squishy, and that could have been a player up. They come in Dunsparce here, which is a decent answer to us, but I mean, at this point, look at how much damage these Hydro Cannons are doing. I almost have two more back-to-back. This one will either draw a shield or put them into Shadow Claw farm down range, giving us switch advantage. What does our opponent want to do? They opt to shield and throw on bad timing to get their move off right before I can get my next attack. This is still going to be kind of fine, though. I have my next Hydro Cannon. In fact, I can even bank this, swap to my Guzzlord because switch clocks are desynced, force them to throw energy here where they really wouldn't want to make it so their switch clock can come back up. Now they can swap back into Azu, but I have enough energy to start threatening Sludge Bombs against the Fairy-type Pokemon, and that Dunsparce has been basically neutralized at this point to where they're in range of either Poison Stings farming them down, or maybe even just a charge move knocking them out later on if I need to. Sludge Bomb is going to come through here. It is going to land against this Azumarill, putting them almost into the red, and since we're almost at our next one, they are forced to throw energy here before I am going to be able to knock them out. Ice Beam is going to be required. Bubble does nothing to our Dragon-type Pokemon there, which is what is kind of nice about Guzzlord into Azumarill. They don't have fast move pressure, only charge move pressure, but in comes our Shadow Gator with so much energy. They know that I have two moves, so they just let that go. What do they bring in? Do they bring in their final Pokemon or the Dunsparce here? They actually bring in Clodsire to try to sponge energy. This is going to be a very good thing to see, though, right now. I can go for these Hydro Cannons. With that said, they have a shield advantage. They have a lot of ground type damage against our Clodsire later on this game. I try to catch either a Stun Edge or a Sludge Bomb. Doesn't quite work out for us, but we still have a Hydro Cannon loaded in the backline. We have the ability to easily survive one move here, and if they ever want to swap out to go for Drill Runs, I think I survive the Drill Run on our Clodsire still from this range. We go for an Earthquake here. This will chip them down into a range where I know for a fact a Hydro Cannon will knock them out, and if they don't throw energy here, then I'm going to be able to get to another move. If they do throw energy, we're going to be in a good spot either way. They bank energy on their Clodsire. They come back in Dunsparce, and I think as long as we survive a Drill Run, we can get a full Poison Sting down here and have energy for that Clodsire later on, either forcing them to throw energy against us or potentially making it so we can just knock them out with this Earthquake. They win CMP, it looks like, but that is totally fine. I have my Hydro Cannon loaded on my Shadow for Alligator, as long as we don't lag a turn here, and if they don't have back-to-back moves, which if they're running Stone Edge they literally can't have, then I can go for this Hydro Cannon, win the game with Shadow for Alligator sweeping up here in the end. They didn't have a great answer for a Shadow for Alligator, it popped off, and Guzzlord with Sludge Bomb putting in a lot of work in matchups where you might not really expect it to. Alright, next game, Guzzlord up against a Diggersby. Alright, a bit more of a neutral lead matchup, but honestly another very tricky Pokemon for our team to see. Obviously, we do have our Shadow Gator, a Water-type Pokemon, but this is a normal type as well that we're fighting, which means that they would resist our Shadow Claws and make it so it's a very awkward matchup one way or another. We don't get debuff with that first Scorching Stance, which is massive for us, because that means that these Brutal Swings and these Dragon Tails are going to add up quite a bit quicker. Brutal Swing number one comes through. As you can see, it's not the most impactful charge move out there, especially because it's a very bulky target that we are fighting against with this Diggersby. We're hoping once again that no debuff is going to come through. Scorching Sands ends up coming through, but no debuff, fortunately. We end up shielding, and now, as long as we can get a Dragon Tail down, we should be in a very good spot. If they can reach another charge move, it's probably only going to be a Fire Punch. I'm hoping that they can't even reach that, though. Since they didn't get any debuffs against us, they are not able to reach another charge move, and they come in Azu. Once again, I want to save our Guzzlord. We have a lot of energy there, and it seems like they might be kind of weak to our Shadow for Alligator as well. They have not swapped out just yet, so having energy here and having health as well could potentially be very helpful for the backline. Player Rough does draw our first shield, or our second shield rather. We are down 0 shields to 2, which is kind of awkward right now, depending on their final Pokemon, but I think Energy Advantage Shadow Gator is always a very strong Pokemon to have. I have another 2 Hydro Cannons ready, and I know I survive a Player Up. I want this energy just in case the backline is weak to Shadow Gator. Player Up puts us very low into the red, but at this point we do survive the move. We have 2 Hydro Cannons loaded. We can either knock out this Azumarill, or potentially put in some work against the backline Pokemon, depending on what it is. We Simul Swap, actually. I tried to snap him down with Poison Stings, but our opponent doesn't want to get farmed down either. They come in with their Galarian Corsola, and we are in a very awkward position. Corsola being a Ghost-type Pokemon resists my Poison-type damage, and they have a lot of neutral pressure with Astonish and with Nightshade. They also have 2 shields, but I have energy on my Guzzlord, I have energy on my Shadow Gator, and I survive enough on this Corsola that I can probably get to 2 moves against them. 2 Earthquakes are going to come through, and now it's going to be a lot of mind games here to see if I can win this matchup. I have the energy. Can I avoid a catch? And can I even survive long enough to get enough damage off against the Azumarill later on? They throw a charge move here. Maybe I can survive, but it's going to be very close. Nightshade doesn't end up knocking us out, so I make a combo play here. Come in with my Guzzlord, go for this Brutal Swing, and if they don't throw energy here, I can potentially get to another attack. And yeah, looks like that is exactly what ends up happening. They throw a Nightshade potentially at us, and now I have my energy on my Shadow Gator. I can't take an Astonish. If I do, I'm going to be in bubble down range. I have to watch for a catch, throw the Hydro Cannon in the middle of the Astonish, or go for Shadow Claws if I see a swap happen. But I see an Astonish here, so I throw the Hydro Cannon in the middle of the animation. I'm not going to take that damage. And now, as long as I can Shadow Claw down or reach a Hydro Cannon against this Azu before they can bubble us down, we should have this game. Looks like the Shadow Gator is just barely able to reach his Hydro Cannon and take us that match. Very close matchup there. 1 HP on every Pokemon across the board, but GG's to our opponent. Alright, next day, that is a terrible lead. One of the worst things we could possibly see. A Wigglytuff. We have our Shadow for Alligator that is going to swap in. The thing that makes Wigglytuff such a hard lead compared to like Azumarill is they are a normal and fairy type Pokemon, meaning that Shadow for Alligator has a lot less play, and also because they have a lot more fast food pressure here, it's going to be a lot more awkward to try to deal with. In the backline, I'm going to see a Corsola come in, actually. This is a very awkward Pokemon to see when they have so much of a health advantage, but we have super effective Shadow Claws, and they actually end up shielding that Hydro Cannon, which is kind of nice, but we do have to keep in mind that our Guzzlord, despite the fact that it's a Dark type into a Ghost type, is going to be taking Power Gems, which are a very powerful move, and Astonish, despite being resisted, is going to start adding up over time. Power Gem almost does about half of our health here. After a couple more Astonishes, I know it would put us into single Charm range, so I don't want to get sniped down by that Wigglytuff. I will shield this up, build up as much energy as possible here. Maybe I can get a full Farm down. If I can, then I should be in a very good position where I have 2 charge moves ready to go. They come back in Wigglytuff. Fantastic news for us here. We have the Sludge Bomb ready to go. If this gets the shield, we swap out. If they let it go, we'll see what they come in with. In comes their final Pokemon, a Mud Slapper. Not something that our Clodsire wants to see, but with enough health on our Guzzlord here and enough energy, I think there's still a chance we can win this game. They let that move go. I'm going to bank a Brutal Swing here to make it so they don't get that one Mud Slap sneak. And now, as long as I can draw the shield here with my Clodsire, I should be able to win this game by going for a Brutal Swing later on in this game against this Marowak. With that said, I have set myself up for a potential 1-turn lag lose condition, where if my Guzzlord comes in and my move doesn't show up, I could lose this game. I'm not expecting that to happen, but you know, anything can happen in the Go Battle League. We have to keep that in mind. With that said, Earthquake is going to come through. It should get the knockout if it goes unshielded, or it should draw that shield, making it so that Brutal Swing in the backline should be ready to go to knock out this Marowak. Or not. I get 1-turn lag. They get to throw their move. That's great. Love to see it. We should have had that one. But unfortunately, the game sometimes just, it doesn't work. So I guess we'll just have to keep on playing, keep on moving on here against the Morpeko lead. A Guzzlord and a Morpeko matchup. Honestly, a pretty good matchup here for Guzzlord. We resist every single charge move, but I say resist in like quotation marks here because you're about to see how much damage this still does. It's going to put us way under half health despite being a resisted attack. That's just how powerful they have made Morpeko's moveset. And in comes a very awkward Pokemon actually for our backline to see a Dunsparce. We do have Guzzlord here that's pretty neutral into it, but they have the ability to resist Shadow Claws on Shadow Gator and do super effective damage to our Clodsire, so not a Pokemon we have like a hard answer to on this team, but what I can do here is absorb 2 Drill Runs on Clodsire. Poison Stings are going to add up very quickly and put them into range where Earthquake plus Poison Sting damage should be able to knock them out, and the thing is, they can't come back in Morpeko against my Clodsire. I mean, they could, I guess. That'd be a bad play, though, because obviously Electric into ground is not exactly where you want to be. I have a lot of energy on my Clodsire. We are likely going to get the knockout or potentially put them into range where the next 2 Poison Stings can knock out right before the next Drill Run. We have a Sludge Bomb loaded, and that's very good to see because there is going to be a bit of an awkward Pokemon actually in the backline. ABA Dark type from our opponent here. Bit of an interesting team comp. Luckily for us, though, because Clodsire is so bulky, the Snarl down is not going to be super possible from our opponent, but this is still going to be an interesting endgame because there is that Morpeko on the backline. Our Shadow Gator as well is going to be kind of useless just because they have 2 Dark types. With that said, we have the ability to Ice Beam this, draw shields. We have so much play with our Guzzlord. It's just when and where do we use shields? What was that? I guess Mandibu's entering into full belly mode. That was an odd visual bug. Good stuff, Go Battle League. And in comes some Morpeko once again. I'm just going to swap back into our Guzzlord, try to go for a full Dragon Tail down here, and now our camera angle is completely messed up. What is even going on right now? I can't even see what's going on. What comes in? Mandibuzz, I guess that's our last Pokemon. Sludge Bomb gonna come through here. Won't do too much damage, but we aren't in range where Snarls can knock us out, so I know they're gonna be forced to throw Charge Moves here if they want to knock us out here. I'm gonna shield this up, because at this point these Dragon Tails are doing so much damage, it's gonna put them into Brutal Swing range. I think I can get to 2 Brutal Swings before they're gonna be able to reach another Aerial Ace, and as long as I can get both shields down, or even just land a Brutal Swing, I'm gonna be putting them into range where I can knock them out with Fast Moves with my Shadow for Alligator later on. Looks like our opponent gets a little bit greedy. They try to CMP us here. They thought they might outpace us to a charge move. Luckily, though, we do end up reaching that move before they're able to throw theirs. Guzzlord winning that CMP event. And now, even though Aerial Ace will knock us out, Shadow Claws should be more than enough to finish out this game and take down this Mandibuzz. GG's to our opponent. All right, next matchup, we're going to see Guzzlord in the lead up against a Gastrodon. All right, not exactly a good matchup for Guzzlord. You might expect it to be. Honestly, in the past, Guzzlord was a very strong Pokemon against these neutral targets, but since they've buffed Astonish, since they've buffed the Mud Slap that they're using on this Gastrodon, it's honestly a little bit of a tricky matchup here, just because, as you're going to see, Mud Slap is already kind of out-damaged my Dragon Tails, and they just have a harder hitting move. I'm using Brutal Swing. That's not the best move in the game, and we end up going down to Mud Slaps before even reaching another charge move with Guzzlord. We only reached one charge move. That is terrible for us to see. This is going to have so much energy against our Feraligatr. I can no-shield knowing it's just going to be a Body Slam, but they're going to chip us down to about half health at this point. Gastrodon putting in so much work against our team. I'm hoping once this Mud Slap is out of the way, that potentially my Clodsire is going to have more play. They have, okay, this is going to be somewhat playable here. Morpeko and Wigglytuff in the backline. This is looking kind of playable, but the thing is, they do have energy on that Wigglytuff. They have Psychic Fangs here as well, which means that they're going to be able to debuff us, do super effective damage, and potentially, if they want to go for it, they could also go for an Aura Wheel Dark type now that they have swapped to the Hangry form, as it's called, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to spam out the cheapest energy move, because at this point, I'm still going to be forced to shield. Psychic Fangs is going to be a permanent debuff on us unless I swap out to my Shadow Feraligatr, but as we have seen, Shadow Feraligatr has almost no play with both a Wigglytuff and a Morpeko in the back. Our Clodsire is going to have a lot of work to do, but we do have energy left over on our Gator, so potentially we can make something happen here. Opponent opting to stay in and CMPing us on this move. They probably have back-to-back charge attacks right now, but the thing is, since the Sludge Bomb has been reached, we are slightly more spammy than the Stone Edge variant. We are able to make sure that this Morpeko is going to go down before potentially getting knocked out by their next charge move. I know that Wigglytuff, though, does have a bit of energy as well. I'm going to do an interesting play where I'm going to build up energy, catch a move on our Shadow Feraligatr, save a Sludge Bomb, and also clear our debuff on Clodsire. No matter what, I have the ability to go for that Sludge Bomb, even if somehow my Gator gets knocked out, but even if it doesn't here, I get the Hydro Cannon off, I have that Sludge Bomb in the backline, so catching the move, clearing my debuff, and making it so I have this energy for this Wigglytuff in the back is going to be crucial for us winning that game. GG's to our opponent. Next matchup, a Talonflame in the lead. One of the best leads we could see, but honestly, it's a little bit more awkward than you might expect, just because Talonflame obviously is going to be having heavy hitting charge moves with either Fly or potentially Brave Bird. Our opponent opting to let us throw first. They want to throw on better timing. It's a little bit awkward for a 5-turn into a 3-turn. Honestly, it's kind of awkward for the 3-turn move to throw on proper timing as well, but they do throw on very good timing here. I'm going to no-shield, hoping that this is a not Brave Bird right now. It is a Fly, thank goodness. That would have basically one-shot us if it was a Brave Bird. I'm going to let this go. At this point, I don't really know what we want to do with our Guzzlord. It feels like it's not the most useful Pokemon. Yeah, he's got a shield, right? So if I go for a full Shadow Claw down against his Talonflame, I should be in a very good spot. Unfortunately, missed out on a Shadow Claw there due to a one-turn lag, but you know, that just seems to happen every now and then in the Go Battle League. With that said, in comes the Shadow Gator, and as long as I can take this thing out before we're going to be on Clodsire against this, we should be in a good spot. We have a lot of energy. We can outpace them. It's just going to come down to if the Shadow Claws are going to be able to knock them out after that Hydro Cannon. Can they reach another Hydro before the 5 next Shadow Claws can KO their Feraligatr? We have the ability to farm them down if they're not the bulkiest one out there, and it looks like we are able to get the full Shadow Claw down. We have 2 charge moves on our Shadow Gator. We have a full health Clodsire in the backline, but they still have a bit of Talonflame. They haven't even revealed their final Pokemon, but we're going to see it as an Annihilate. This is fantastic to see. If I make sure they don't catch a Hydro Cannon, I should be able to win this game. Hydro number 1 gets shielded. I wait a turn, see the counter come through, and this next Hydro Cannon should do enough to put them into Sludge Bomb range for our Clodsire later on. We end up swapping out now. We don't want to give them any extra farm that we don't have to, and as long as we can reach the Sludge Bomb here and not have a catch happen, we should be able to win this game. I overfarm knowing that even if they swap into Talonflame, I should be able to overfarm, get to 2 back-to-back moves, throw a Sludge Bomb against Talon, throw a Sludge Bomb against that Annihilate, and I should be able to win this game. Even if they're on Ice Punch, 2 Ice Punches wouldn't knock out from here. Clodsire is so bulky, Ice Punch being non-stab would not even be a threat. We are able to take out the Annihilate and win that game. GG's to our opponent. All right, next game, a Diggersby in the lead. We saw this a little bit earlier, a little bit of an awkward lead matchup, but we can try to play this out. Go for these Dragon Claws, Dragon Tails. I guess we're not running Dragon Claw, just Dragon Tail and Brutal Swing, but we'll try our best to neutralize this so our backline doesn't have to deal with it. With that said, if they do get a Scorching Sands debuff, especially if they get one early, it could be kind of bad. I didn't see one there, but if they get one on the next one, it could still be kind of annoying, because I think that makes it so they get to a 3rd charge move before we can farm them all the way down. They do go and reach another move here in just a second, but I'm going to throw on bad timing so I can throw this move before they can potentially get a debuff against us. This Brutal Swing will end up landing here, and now I have a decision to make. Do I want to shield this, or do I want to let this go? I'm going to shield, hope for no debuff. If they do debuff, I think they might get to a Fire Punch, and it looks like this time they did end up getting that debuff. I'm going to try to make a catch here, but it doesn't quite work out because we are locked into the Dragon Tail, and now this Fire Punch is going to do a lot of damage, put us almost into a range where, honestly, almost anything in the game could fast move us down. In the backline, going to be a Toxapex that ends up coming in. I don't want anything to do with this Toxapex with our Shadow Gator, and I'm just hoping that we're going to have play with our Shadow Gator in the backline. But we are down shields. We've given this thing a lot of energy as well, and even though you'd think that a ground type into a poison type would be a very good matchup, we don't have any fast move pressure. They have a lot of an energy lead, and they are a water type into a ground type, despite their water type damage not being the most impactful move. Since they have a shield advantage, and since they can survive an Earthquake, I think they can whittle me down if they need to, if they have something else that's kind of weak to a Clodsire in the backline, and that could be a little bit uncomfortable. Our opponent does opt to shield that move up, which is a little bit frightening. It makes me think that Clodsire might have more play in the backline, but I still just have to kind of no-shield this, get my advantage back, where I just no-shield everything on Clodsire, go for these 2 Earthquakes, try to whittle this thing down, put it into range where I can Shadow Claw down with their Shadow Gator, and if I can do that, maybe we can still have a chance, as long as their final Pokemon is not going to be a hard answer to our Shadow Gator. What is it going to be? That's always the big question here. Could be a Talonflame. I've seen a lot of Diggersby, Talonflame, and Toxapex teams, but no, it's going to be one of the worst-case scenarios actually in the backline. Going to be a Chestnut here. I'm going to throw the Hydro Cannon. I didn't even bait the Ice Beam because I need this to land, and I need this to put them into Shadow Claw downrange. If I don't throw this move before they do, they can throw a move before me. I don't deny them a Vine Whip, and it doesn't really matter. They just have me there one way or another. Grass type in the back. Honestly, Gator was kind of pinned that game, but GG's to our opponent. Next game, a Morpeko up against our Guzzlord once again. As we've seen, very good matchup. Our Dragon Tails do a lot of damage, but we don't have really quick damage to get against this thing with our charge moves. We have Sludge Bomb, which is neutral, but it's mainly the fast move pressure that's going to help out here. If they swap out, we have energy for the backline. They do swap out. That was the weirdest camera angle I've ever seen. I'm going to have to throw the Sludge Bomb to try to get some chip damage against the Superior. I'll build up a little bit of extra energy as well, and then I think I can come in Clodsire, maybe farm them all the way down, even have energy for the backline, because I know 2 Frenzies don't knock us out, and I don't think they'll get to a 3rd charge move right now. In comes the first charge move, almost certainly going to be a Frenzy Plant. Yeah, it does quite a bit of damage. Doesn't quite two-shot us, but it will put us pretty low at this point, where Sucking Fangs from a Morpeko could take us out, or most Pokemon just that could be in the backline would be able to fast move us down. We fast move them down, though, have almost 100 energy. They end up coming in with a Cresselia, so honestly, this trainer was so weak to Guzzlord, basically triple weak, right? As long as they're on Moonblast, I guess they have some play here against it, but if this is a Future Sight Cresselia, then they are just triple weak to Guzzlord. That is absolutely crazy. Next Earthquake going to come through, and if this gets shielded, then we're going to be in a very good spot. If it goes unshielded, then we're going to have to try to fast move this down. Fortunately for us, we actually got that on a CMP, our opponent not realizing we'd reach that Earthquake so soon. Grass not able to knock us out, or it would have if they didn't make a nice undercharge. But with that said, that undercharge is not going to help them here. We can come in with our Shadow for Alligator, just no-shield everything at this point, knowing that saving shields for Guzzlord is going to be our win condition. They're throwing a charge move, even if it's a Grass Knot, which is going to be super effective, it doesn't knock us out. And Morpeko does come in, does throw a charge move, but I think we should be able to fast move down before they're able to get to another move against our Guzzlord. And even if they do get to another move, they're not going to reach another move on that Cresselia. We do Dragon Tail all the way down. Once again, these camera angles going crazy. I guess Morpeko versus Guzzlord just kind of makes something weird happen there, but able to take that game. GG's to our opponent. Next game, a Wigglytuff in the lead. Very bad lead matchup. Once again, safe swap to our Shadow Gator. Hopefully we can make something happen here. Go for the Hydro Cannon as soon as possible. Try to ship them down, make it so we don't have to deal with as much health or potentially as many shields in the backline. They do end up shielding their Wigglytuff this time, and if they're going to stay in here, I'm going to try to land the Hydro Cannon if possible. They throw a charge move, might be an Icy Wind, might be a Swift. Depends on what they're feeling like doing. Swift ends up coming through, doesn't debuff our attack stat, which is fantastic, meaning that this next Hydro is going to do quite a bit of damage to this Wigglytuff. It's going to put them into range, or potentially even well, probably not a Brutal Swing, but I mean, a Poison Sting down would be in the cards depending on their final Pokemon. We're going to come in with Clodsire after waiting out our Switch Clock. We've swapped and they haven't, which means I don't want to swap immediately. They end up coming in with a Gastrodon, though actually, Gastrodon, one of the trickier Pokemon that I could see. I know this is likely going to be an Earth Power, but the thing is, I think Guzzlord is going to be my win condition this game. If I can build up enough energy, I can Sludge Bomb potentially against their Wigglytuff later on, and the thing is, this is only a Body Slam. I still need energy for that Wigglytuff. I need to be able to have a full-on Sludge Bomb ready to go against it if I want to be able to threaten it in the slightest. I have 100 energy on Guzzlord, throwing a Brutal Swing right now, and we'll see what ends up happening here. Are we going to be able to land the Sludge Bomb against Wigglytuff, or are they going to just have a hard answer for our Clodsire in the backline? We'll have to see. We end up going for this Sludge Bomb. It gets shielded. They charm us down. Oh my goodness, in the back, of course, it's going to be that Drifloon. If you had Stone Edge on Clodsire, maybe would have had play, but unfortunately the moveset that we're running does not have that. We're running Sludge Bomb for the fairies, but that Drifloon able to wall all of our energy. Alright, next thing, I'm going to see a Shadow Jumpluff in the lead matchup. Not the worst matchup for us. Actually, I think they let a Quagsire, then safe swapped a Shadow Jumpluff, which is going to be even better for us, meaning that we can swap in to our Poison-type Pokemon here, go for Sludge Bombs, and I don't even care about Switch advantage this game, because Shadow Quagsire, despite being a little bit bit of a threat to our Clodsire is not a threat in the slightest to either our Shadow Feraligatr rather, or our Guzzlord that we have this game. So instead of going for Switch here, I'm actually going to opt to potentially give them Switch if they really want to fight for it. I am wanting energy advantage on our other two Pokemon. I'm going to No Shield, even if this is an Energy Ball, even if it knocks me out, we should be in a very good spot. They don't knock me out with that, though. Either that just doesn't knock me out there, they might have undercharged a little bit, which is still fantastic for us, because I can go for this Earthquake against this Quagsire and swap out after drawing a shield from them. The thing is, even though we have energy lead here, there could be things in the backline we could be kind of scared against. Potentially, a Charmer could still be pretty bad, like a Wigglytuff, but I want to save our Shadow Feraligator's health as much as possible. I know they're almost always just going to bait us with Aqua Tails, but I want to make sure that if there is a Charmer in the backline, we have at least a little bit of play, having a little health here with our Shadow Gator. They have a Dugong in the back, though. That's probably one of the best things we could see with their Shadow Gator with that much energy. They end up top lefting, and we take that game there. Next matchup, a Wigglytuff up against our Guzzlord. We've seen this so many times. Can we win this time? We would have won one of these games if it weren't for lag. The other time was just hard RPS, so let's see what this one is going to be. Hydro Cannon ends up drawing that first shield. Honestly, I'd love to see a shield here, because it's not like I don't have coverage against this later on this game with our Guzzlord. Our opponent makes an interesting swap out to Dunsparce, which is going to be kind of a tricky Pokemon to see in the backline this low on HP on our Gator, but if we can draw another shield from them, I don't think they have to shield, but if they get scared and they really want Switch, they might shield this move, and if that is the case, which it is, we are able to get 2 shields to 0, might be able to farm this down, have Sludge Bombs ready to go against that Wigglytuff, and we might have found a way back into this game, depending on what the final Pokemon is going to be. I always expect when you see a Wigglytuff lead, there's going to be some sort of ground type in the back, whether that be a Diggersby, a Mudslapper like a Gastrodon, maybe a Marowak. Either way, I think our Clodsire is going to be in a little bit of a pickle in the back line, but we're going to farm all the way down against this Dunsparce, swap out to our Clodsire, see if we can make anything happen. We do have a lot of energy on Guzzlord. We can go for a Sludge Bomb later on this game, but I don't want to take that Charm just yet. They end up having a Gastrodon just like I thought. With that said, I think there's still going to be play for us right now. We have shield advantage, we have energy advantage, and if we can put that Wigglytuff into range of a Sludge Bomb, potentially either by getting Poison Sting damage or a Sludge Bomb of our own on our Clodsire, we should be able to win this game. They're back-to-back charge moves. This could be an Earth Power. I don't want to shield the wrong move. We call a Body Slam bait. We go for the Earthquake. Our opponent trying to go for a fast move farm down. It's not going to be enough, though. Clodsire able to get this next Earthquake off, knock out the Gastrodon. We have energy on our Guzzlord. All we need is chip damage against this Wigglytuff. Get off that Sludge Bomb here on both our Clodsire and our Guzzlord, and I think we might finally be able to overcome the Wigglytuff in the lead. Sludge Bomb from Clodsire going to come through. It is debuffed, but with that said, we have access to that non-debuffed Sludge Bomb with our Guzzlord. We can come in here, not even take that Charm Guzzlord, looking Fairy type right in the face here, knocking them out. Its worst nightmare taken care of, no problem. GG's to our opponent. And as you can see there, a nice little 4-1 to end out the day. This team got me to my new season high, actually. I tried out a bit of a festive team at the start of the day, where I was trying to do like a Christmas-themed team with Abomasnow and Starmie. That team did not work out at all. This was kind of my backup team that I went to be like, you know, I want to try hard now, let's see how it does. And I had like a 70% win rate with this team when I swapped over to it. So obviously this team worked out quite well. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're seeing a lot of Pokemon weak to Guzzlord. Make sure to give this team a try. Well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles live basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN. I'd love to see you there. The link to that is in the description, and I'm going to be uploading a lot more to the channel. So if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.